Good morning, everybody. My name is McKinley. I'm the Deputy Chief for LMPD. Start off with our crime overview. So it's really refreshing to continuously see a progressive trend downward in crime. So homicides continue to fall down. We're down 30% compared to this time last year. Same with our shootings. And I think it's really important to note that we had 0 non-fatal shootings last week. And I don't remember a week where we have had that in recent times. So it's really refreshing to see that. Really good work by officers keeping people safe. Really good work by the community talking to us and speaking with us and making sure that we're getting people off the street who have guns and getting guns off the street. And so you see that reflected here in these numbers. Our carjackings continue to decline. We're down 30% as well in carjackings. And then business robberies. I know last week last biweekly we talked about business robberies, and they were up the last biweekly, and now we've seen that go down this week or these past few weeks. So again, refreshing progress. Good to see this progress. And I think you see this throughout the country. You hear all cities talking about how crime is down, and I think there's two reasons why that is. The first is public trust and stability. And I'm not talking necessarily about public trust just in policing, but public trust with each other, with our institutions, with our communities, trusting that people are going to hold people accountable and knowing that. And I think that drives crime down. Stability in our day-to-day lives. I think over the past 5 years, or 5 years ago, we had a lot of instability in our day-to-day life. And I think over the past 5 years, we've seen that stability increase. And because of that, people feel safe, people are safe, and you see crime going down. And then just seeing the necessity of policing. Policing done the right way. And I think communities can't thrive without effective and engaged policing, and it has to be done the right way. And I think people are seeing that, and people are realizing that is necessary for safe communities. And so we hope to continue to see that going forward. One thing that we definitely need more of, is community involvement. We cannot do this alone. I think we've said that ad nauseum. We do not do this by ourselves. This is not just a police problem. This is a community problem, and community safety requires all of us to work together. And sometimes that's hard. And what we need people to speak up. We need people who have done homicides, shootings, carjackings, robberies, who are doing these most violent crimes. We need people to speak up. We need anonymous tips, and we've got several so far this year. We've had over 5,000 calls to our tip line for crime tips that have come in, and nearly 400 of those have been related to homicides. And I know there's been a lot of focus on the bus stop shooting and the bus stop incidents for the first day of school and then last week. And there were 7 tips that came in for that first shooting that helped us to identify the shooters and make those arrests in that case. And from the homicide that took place just last week, there's been 15 tips so far that have came in. And what we need most are people to be brave. I know people were out there. I know people know who did this. I know people who know who did that homicide. And I need people to speak up. I need that person who saw it to speak up. I need the person who did that to speak up. And I know that's a heavy weight that you're carrying on your shoulders. And I know that it's tough, and I know that it's hard. And it's not complicated, but it is hard. But we're here to help you. The community wants to help you. We all need to work together. We have to speak up. And that's how we get crime down. And there's multiple ways. You can text crimes, CRIMES. If you text that, you can text tips in that way. You don't have to speak to anyone. You can also go to our website, lmpd.com, and type tips in as well on our website. So another thing, people, when you talk about tips and you knowing something, you always assume that someone else is going to do it. Someone else is going to call in. Someone else is going to take that step. Someone else is going to be that leader and take that initiative. And we had this conversation in our department recently about you needing to be the one that would take that first step. You need to be that one that takes that initiative to get that job done. And so I sent this out to our department a couple weeks ago, and I'll read it to you because I want to share it with the community because I want people to know that it's you that has to step forward. You cannot wait and assume that somebody else is going to do that job, that somebody else is going to do the hard thing. It has to be you that does that hard thing. And so I sent this picture out. I did not write this or create this. I just thought it was something that people would appreciate on our agency as far as taking the initiative and being a good leader. But so I'll read this to you. There was an important job to be done, and everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought anybody could do it, but nobody realized that everybody wouldn't do it. And it ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did when anybody could have. We have to be leaders in our community. We have to be leaders in our department. We have to be leaders for our kids to show them that we're not afraid. We're not afraid to do the hard things. We're not afraid to take that risk. And so we have to be leaders for our people and everybody that we live with and the communities that we serve. In talking about leadership, on Monday we swore in 20 officers and civilian staff, and we promoted them. So we had 2 majors that were promoted. We had 3 lieutenants, 8 sergeants, and 7 professional staff that were promoted to positions within our department, leadership positions within our department. And in that speech, the chief cited 3 things. He gave them 3 things to keep in mind, and those were: 1, always keep improving yourself and each other. Focus on your decision making. You're going to make a lot of decisions. Some of them might not always be right, but make a lot of them, learn from your mistakes, but just make a decision. And then always hold each other accountable, yourselves and each other. And it's so important to learn that. And we want to make sure that our leaders are getting effective training. And so I want to talk about some training that we send our leaders to learn these concepts throughout the country. And so we send our leaders to a lot of different leadership programs throughout our country. So the Southern Police Institute is at the University of Louisville. It's a 3-month program that we send often sergeants and lieutenants to, and it's attended by people from agencies throughout the United States. The Major Cities Chiefs Association has a program called the Police Executive Leadership Institute, and it's usually for executive leaders in police agencies. They'll pair them up with a mentor police chief throughout the country. They shadow that chief for a week or so, and then there's another few weeks in other cities where they do leadership development and training. The Senior Management Institute for Police is done through PERF. It's a 3-week program. We send lieutenants, majors to this. It's up in Boston. It's at Boston University. It's taught by instructors from Boston University, Harvard University, and MIT. And then most recently, we've worked with Nashville and Knoxville police departments to develop a Tri-City Police Leadership Program where sergeants and lieutenants will travel to Knoxville and Nashville Police and Louisville to attend leadership development training with Knoxville and Nashville police officers. And yesterday we had a lateral class that started, and we asked that lateral class, there was 5 laterals, and laterals are officers who come from other police agencies. So we had 5 who came from other agencies throughout the state, and they had a lot of years of service, and we're appreciative of that that experience that's coming to our department. And we asked them, why are you coming to LMPD? What made you make that jump to come to our department and leave your original agency? And they all cited command culture and the opportunity for leadership development. And I think we do an excellent job of that here at LMPD. There was a recent study that showed that the number 1 way to improve recruitment in policing, it wasn't pay, it wasn't the schedule, it wasn't the location of the police agency. It was a culture of a learning organization. It was building that culture of a learning organization. And so when people saw that that police agency had a culture of a learning organization, people were more likely to join that department. And so that's what we're striving to do. That's what Chief Humphrey is striving to do. That's what we communicated to our leaders that we promoted on Monday. And that's what we hope to continue to do in the future to build a safer and stronger Louisville. And it doesn't just start, or it doesn't start when you get promoted. We try to develop our officers as soon as we hire them. So last week, LMPD brought a new recruit class to Washington, D.C. So we take all of our recruit classes to Washington, D.C., and this isn't just a field trip. This is an immersive learning experience. Our goal is to develop officers to serve with empathy and understanding and a deeper sense of purpose and not just enforce the law. And so they visit three important places. They'll visit the National Museum of African American History and Culture, and they do that to learn about slavery and segregation and civil rights and how they intersect with policing in our culture and our communities today. And they also go to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, where they learn about the impact of power and how that can affect communities when power goes unchecked, and how when systems are abused, how that affects communities and people, and how when people in authority fail to protect the most vulnerable people. So they learn that at that museum. And they'll also go to the National Law Enforcement Memorial Museum to learn and reflect on the sacrifices made by officers who gave their lives serving their communities in the history of our profession. And so we tie these lessons back to Louisville because policing here, like everywhere, is affected and shaped by their history of that city. And so we want our recruits to understand that. And so that's why we send them to Washington, D.C. for this experience. And so last week they went there. We have a recruit here. His name is Jaron Crittenden. And so he's going to come up and give a perspective of what he learned and what he took from his experience in Washington, D.C. at these three locations and others. So I'll turn it over to Jaron.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jaron Crittenden. I am a recruit for Louisville Metro Police Department, a part of MAC Class 62. And last week, me and 12 others took a trip to Washington, D.C. It was really fun. You know, we got to see the instructors in a different light besides, you know, the police world. We got to see ourselves and our peers in a different light. We went to places like the White House, the Capitol building, but most importantly, the museum. That's what really impacted us. Like Deputy Chief said, we went to the Holocaust Museum, African American History and Culture Museum, and the Law Enforcement Museum. It was really interesting because we got to see different cultures, different traditions of people. You know, we're going to be police officers here in less than a month, so it's really important for us to see other people. Over 90% of our job is going to be talking to people, and it's just really important that we get to learn people that might not be like us. You know, we got African Americans, we got Hispanics, we got, you know, a whole bunch of different races that we need to, you know, just make sure that we connect to them in a different way. It was just important for us to see a background and traditions of what they go through. What really stood out to us was Chief Humphrey came along with us. He came to the African American History and Culture Museum, and he talked about having a sense of pride. He brought up the fact that, you know, we have people in our families that might have served in the military who fought in World War I and World War II, and that same sense of pride that they have about fighting for our country is the same sense of pride that I might have about African Americans coming from Africa during slavery, or about the Jews during the Holocaust. And we really felt impacted by his words and wisdom, and I think it was really great that he came along on the trip with us. And I'm pretty sure, and I know for a fact that the classes to come are going to be impacted by it. They're going to get tremendous amount of benefits from it, just like we did and just like the classes before us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaron. And we have several pictures that we have available. We'll make sure we get those out to you all so that you all can highlight this. I think it's important that you all highlight what we are doing. This is unique. Not every police agency does this, and so I think this is special to Louisville that we are using this opportunity to train our recruits and give them a different perspective. So, again, the Kentucky State Fair is well underway. I think, this is the final weekend, so it ends Sunday. We've had several people out. They've been doing our push-up challenge. I was out there last night. I did the push-up challenge. I didn't win, but took a picture with the belt. So I'm not sure who the winner is, but recruitment's out there. They're always looking for good applicants, and they're giving away gun locks. I know we've given away over 11,000 gun locks, I think, so far this state fair. And so there's a lot of crime prevention information out there. And then also our SWAT team, our K-9 unit is out there. Our Air 60 is there. Kids can get inside and play with the equipment and speak with officers and have a great time. So head out there and see us. So at that time, I will open it up for questions.
Are there any updates on the 10th and Chestnut Street shooting from last week?
Yeah, so the question is, are there any updates on the 10th and Chestnut Street shooting last week? And so that shooting was the homicide of Rhodesia Williams, who was walking to school with her 7-year-old daughter. And so, you know, I'm a parent. I have 3 kids, and you know, I know the chaos of school mornings, and you know, the chaos of rushing out the door, and you know, do we have our shoes on? Do we have our lunch? Do we have our homework? Do we have is our teeth brushed? Do we have our hair done? And so it's often the 5 to 15 minute stressful push out the door, but then there comes this like brief moment of calm when we're walking to the bus stop, or we're in the car and we're headed to school, and everything's calm. So you had that stressful moment and everything's calm. And I saw that in that video where Rhodesia's walking with her daughter to the bus stop. So they're walking to the bus stop. It is on video, and they're holding hands walking to that bus stop. And so I imagine them, and I hope that morning was similar like most of our parents' mornings. They had the chaos of getting out the door, and then they had this brief moment of calm and tranquility where they're walking hand in hand to that bus stop. And it was unfortunately interrupted with extreme violence and a nightmare that I can't imagine a 7-year-old experiencing. But I hope that the 7-year-old, her daughter, is able to remember that brief moment of calm and chaos of holding her mom's hand before her mom was fatally shot in front of her. I hope she remembers that moment, that in those seconds before the nightmare, there was calm and there was love and they were having a good time. And I don't know what they were talking about or if they were even talking, but I hope that she remembers that moment with her mom and that morning, and not everything that happened after that. I hope she remembers that. And I say that because I want people to know that this wasn't just a story that you all read or you see on TV or you read online. This was a mom and her 7-year-old going to school. And they had a morning just like we all have every day. They got ready for school and they walked out and they had that time together before the day started. And so I want people to know that these are people, these are not stories, these are not numbers. I know we talk about numbers, but every single one of these homicides, the homicide that happened later that night with the mom who was shot, who was pregnant and shot and was not an intended target. I want people to understand that these are people who are living lives just like every single one of us and have experiences just like every single one of us. And I say that also to put pressure on people who know. There's people that know who did these homicides and others, and we need people to speak up. So the short answer is I don't have any updates right now, but I hope that somebody is listening, and I hope somebody calls the tip line or someone calls homicide and is willing to take that risk and speak up.
Those 15 tips you mentioned, was that for this homicide?
Yeah. Yes.
Did they lead to any potential suspects or lead you anywhere?
Homicide's going through those tips. It is an active and ongoing investigation. We are appreciative of every piece of information that comes in, and sometimes you never know the smallest piece of information that could make a difference. So.
Well, sell this idea to me of calling the tip line.
Mm-hmm.
If I know something or I saw something, but I'm afraid that somebody's going to come get me, or I'm afraid that the cops are going to ask me to testify. I mean, what do you say to people like that? who think that, I'm just afraid, I don't want to get involved in this, I don't want to call the police.
Yeah, the question was, what do we say to people who are afraid? And I know, I have never seen a homicide. I've never had to make that decision. And I understand that there is fear there. We have help. We need people to be brave enough to take that step so that we can end this. Otherwise, this cycle will just perpetuate. And so we have to have people who are brave enough to step up. We have resources to help people who are in danger, who are cooperative and in danger, and we can help them get out of the city or in a new house or in a new home or in a new area. We have done that and will do that, but we need people to speak up.
Is the belief still that the shooting that happened last week that killed the mother, it's not related to the first day of school shooting that happened there? Still that belief that those are not connected in any way?
We made 2 arrests on the school shooting from the first day. We do not believe that those individuals are directly involved in the homicide at this point.
There's a search going on for a man that was mistakenly rent out by LMPD on HIP. Are you guys involved in that?
So we have a fugitive unit. I know they're working with HIP to locate that individual. Again, if anybody knows where that individual is, we ask them to please call our tip line.
I wonder if you had any updates on the investigation into the killing of Michael Wada, the DC officer who was killed earlier this year. I know there were arrests made in that, but I mean, do you guys ever get to anything as far as motive or find out if this was a targeted killing of a law enforcement officer? Are there any more details you can share with us?
Yeah, so the question was, could I share more details about the homicide of Michael Wada, the corrections officer that was killed earlier in the year? I don't have any more details at this point.
And there are a lot of Facebook posts about different car break-ins across the city, specifically in the East End, and even people on Facebook saying, here's what we know. While car break-ins and burglaries are down, are you guys thinking that this is an organized crime type of thing, or is it just some type of opportunity?
Yeah, so the question was about car break-ins and some burglaries that have happened around town. Could this be an organized crime ring or crime of opportunity? I would think that several of them are both. I know that there has been reports of some organized crime rings that have came into Louisville, but there's also everyday car break-ins that could just be crime of opportunity. So I would think it would be a mixture of both.
Can I get a question for the chief? I have one question for you. So how are you doing?
How are you? I'm well.
So the Louisville Inspector's General contract is up in November. Many are calling for him to be reappointed. Would you like to see him stay in his role?
What I need is the question was, would I like to see the Inspector General be reappointed? What we need as an agency and as a police department is a healthy, functioning relationship between the Office of Inspector General and the police department, so that we get good feedback, they give information to the public about what we're doing. And so whoever's in that role, that's the type of relationship that we look forward to. So,
Do you have that kind of relationship now?
what's that?
Would you characterize your relationship now as that?
Would I characterize our relationship as highly functioning now? I think we have some roadblocks that I would like to improve, and I think we are both putting efforts towards making sure we streamline a lot of the bumps that we've had over the past year or so.